Hi, everyone. It's Irina McWilliam Lopez with 1623 Studios, and I'm joined here today by two folks from the local chapter of the Awesome Foundation, Awesome Gloucester. So Rick Doucette and Sal Zerilli, thanks so much for joining us. It's wonderful. We're looking forward to hearing about the Awesome Foundation. But let's just start with quick introductions, because I think something that's unique about the Awesome Foundation is it's completely volunteer led. So Sal, could you start out just explaining how that works and what your role is, and then pass it on to Rick?
Yeah, so I am one of the original trustees. I currently serve as the dean of the chapter, which is sort of like the person who oversees all of our activities. And there's 23 trustees right now, and Rick and I are both counted amongst the ranks. And I'll let Rick introduce himself.
All right. I've been a trustee for 7 years now. Sal came to a group of friends with this amazing concept, great idea. We would all pitch in $50 every out of pocket and award $1,000 notices each month to the idea and the people who come forward with a concept and an initiative to make Gloucester an even more awesome place to live. And it's been an incredibly fulfilling and nourishing ride.
Thank you. And I think we lost your camera for a second, but you already warned us, Rick, that you've escaped Gloucester and you're you're in the mountains of New Hampshire. So we're glad you're safe. And so it seems like the internet might come in and out.
I'll prod that hamster to run a little more quickly on the wheels, and hopefully that'll speed up my internet.
Well, Rick, just passing it back to you, tell us about, there have been some recent priorities for the Awesome Foundation, with COVID going on, COVID-19 going on. What have been the priorities of grant making from Awesome Gloucester just in the past month or so?
Obviously, thank you for that. Addressing and supporting relief efforts and aid to people during this time. One of the structure of what we do, there's a pitch night every month. So the top 3 finalists come and make a public presentation. The public has a chance to ask questions. The voting is done at that night. What we felt is that in these times, obviously, people can't get out of the house, and we want to make this as easy and streamlined for people to apply. So there's a straight application process. Proposals are due the last day of each month. And so far, we have funded the Open Door just 2 months ago. At the beginning of the quarantine and the struggle. And then last month's funds went to Gloucester, We're All in This Together, Gloucester, which has been another group of volunteers who've come together and have really supported the community and each other, making masks, making food runs, delivering groceries and sundries to senior citizens and those that are shut in by the quarantine. And it's really powerful and inspiring to see people pull together and be so supportive of each other during this time.
Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of like a booster shot for the front lines of Gloucester, so to speak, to make sure that, the essential things are being covered and recognized and supported. So that's great. And Al, would love to hear, I guess, first of all, just a clarifying question. Is it all nonprofits, or, are there some social enterprises that you support? What is the core focus of Awesome Gloucester in general, and how do the operations work with a volunteer organization?
Yeah, so we do have a mission statement that is pretty broad. We support 3 broad categories of initiatives within the community. Those that are related to maritime economy, those that are related to maritime culture and heritage. And then we have a third category, which is kind of a catch-all category, which is community togetherness and appreciation. And we're agnostic about who submits proposals to us. You can be a for-profit enterprise. You can be a one-person initiative just trying to do something in your neighborhood, or you can be an established nonprofit within the organization. We're open to all comers. We're looking for any idea that $1,000 could really impact and turn into a reality. So we're agnostic about who comes before us. We really try to be as broad and open and integrative as we can be.
That's great. That probably gives you a really unique perspective. And would love to hear about, from Rick, tell us about who your donors are. I mean, you don't have to tell us exactly who they are, but are they individuals? Are they organizations? What is that breakdown?
I will resist the urge right now to sing the Sesame Street song, "Who Are the People in Your Neighborhood?" They're the people that you meet each day.
Yeah, thank you for resisting.
It's a wide variety. You're welcome. It's a wide variety of folks from all walks of life. We've had trustees that were 14, 15 years old and up into their 80s and 90s. We've had folks from the middle of Gloucester and folks from Eastern Point. We have folks from a background in the fishing community and folks with a background in the sciences or manufacturing or anything, mailmen. It's anybody who feels like they want to help and contribute. One of the things that's really beautiful, it's all individuals. One of the things that's really beautiful, and I didn't really understand it at first when Sal presented it, is there's no tax write-off. It's not funneled through a nonprofit. We're not a nonprofit organization. It's a truly altruistic, here's my $50. I trust you're going to do something great with it.
Wow.
And it's refreshing and it feels good. But to answer your question directly, who are the people who are our donors? Or no companies, no businesses. It's all your friends, families, and neighbors.
That's wonderful. And so you've both been with this organization, I believe, since it started, the Gloucester chapter. Sal, can you give us a little bit about, what that founding story looks like and what you've both seen over the years?
Yeah, sure. So there was a set of people, I would say maybe 5 or 6, who I pitched the idea to early on. I had learned about it. I lived in Toronto for a while, and I worked with a gentleman who was a founder of the Toronto chapter of the Awesome Foundation. And he used to come into work after they gave grants out, and he was sort of levitating. He was so full of joy. And when I came back to Gloucester, I always had this idea of being a member of the Awesome Foundation in the back of my mind. And when I came back home, I was talking to people about the possibility of establishing one. And Rick, a few other folks did a lot of recruiting. They pulled people in, like-minded people in the beginning, a diverse set of people, a cross-section like Rick was describing, but people who really wanted to help improve the community at the grassroots level. And within like 2-3 weeks of pitching the idea to a small group of people, we had 20 people signed up. And within, I would say, like 8 weeks of coming up with the idea, we were giving out our first grant like 8 weeks later. So it was a pretty quick process.
Wow.
And that was almost 8 years ago. And we've given out $91,000 grants since then. It's been a very fun ride, very enriching ride.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so Rick, just turning it back to you to give the last word. And it's always particularly in these times, helpful to get a little dose of hope. So what is giving you hope right now during these extremely challenging times?
What is giving me hope? I think I truly believe that we are all in this together, and we need to look out for and to pull a little bit from Gloucester and its heritage and growing up there. We are capable sailors, all of us. And regardless of what the sea brings us, the waves or the conditions, we don't have to know exactly what's going to be coming at us, but we know that we are capable of navigating those rough seas. And we will keep moving forward. We will adjust. And that's what we as a people do. The spirit of Gloucester is known for its resilience and its strength. And that's what gives me hope.
That's wonderful. That's definitely something that'll ring in my head, as we are all capable sailors. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us, Awesome Gloucester. And it sounds like this is everyone in the neighborhood is welcome to join with donating whatever they can. You know, you're probably not going to turn away even just humble amounts. So that's great that everyone can be involved. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks for having us.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't want to. We're not seeking donations. We have trustees, so I don't want it to people to come across as like, send us money. We don't have, as we don't have an organization. There's no treasury. There's no coffers, so to speak.
How does that work?
So we have each trustee contributes $50 cash a month. We pool that money to get to the $1,000 micro grant that we then distribute to a single initiative every month. So people are pulling the money right out of their own pockets.
I see. And so to become a trustee, how does that process work?
We have a wait list, actually. So if anyone is interested in becoming a trustee, they can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or through the Awesome Foundation website. We have our contact information there. They can reach out and we'll have a conversation with them and put them on the wait list if they're interested.
Yeah, that's really helpful, because I think you described that in the beginning and it wasn't entirely, I guess, clear to me, because it just sounds like it's such a unique process and unique opportunity. So definitely sounds like something folks should look into and really take inspiration from, because it's very different from most organizations.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll say, Erna, is that all of our grants are given with no strings attached. So it's totally trust-based. We don't expect groups to follow up with us. We hope that they go on and do what they said they were going to do and focus on that work, as opposed to giving us confidence that they followed through. So no strings attached is a really important part of our model.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so trust.
Go ahead, Rick.
I was just saying there's a lot of trust, and one of the things that you asked about guiding principles. I think there's a lot of times where we're in those deliberations, and I'd like to thank the Gloucester House for hosting us every month at no cost to us. This is the Gloucester House. Keep them in mind for all your dining and seafood needs. But the guiding principle is there are no rules. There is no groupthink. I guess there's groupthink, but there's no organizational mindset. There's 20 people in a conversation. We each own 5% of the opinion, and it's up to us to convince or have, make a compelling argument. There is no, this is the way it's supposed to be, or the organization thinks this way. It's truly, each member is, the fibers that are woven together.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize you were so poetic. We're all sailors at sea with fibers being woven together. It's beautiful.
I love
early in the morning. The coffee is kicked in, or the tea, and
philosophizing and poetry. We need it now more than ever.
He's
so
become a mountain man.
Thank you so much, guys.
I'm a modern day
Renaissance fantastic.
Man.
Really fantastic.
Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you so much. I got to go get my grape nuts and forage for berries.